A perfect balance is more than just a moment that an audience sees on stage. It is a dancer's quest to boldly redefine the line between athlete and artist. It is the talent, the intensely disciplined daily training, and the ability to sustain the physical and emotional strains of a demanding and brief career. It is the nurturing of a chemistry between two dancers on stage that is undefinable. And it is the development of their own unique interpretation and embodiment of each of the roles they portray. Journey into this private and intimate world with some of today's greatest ballet dancers as they gather from around the world and gain a glimpse into their lives as they pursue the elusive struggle for a perfect balance.
I started dancing in Brazil at the age of 5, and ballet came about when I was about 8 or so. I was a beach boy. Lived a block away from the beach, so my family used to, spend most of the day, on the weekends when we could there. In my studies, I studied with mostly French teachers, and that was a concern, a little bit of a concern, because I was not growing, and I was very short, and all of a sudden, when you hit your teens, you kind of, for a male, it kind of just happens like that, but I guess for me, it came a little bit later, so they were a bit of concern, and thank God it wasn't the case.
As a dancer, you're always a student, and it's good to have always your coaches after every performance, sharing every rehearsal. From the very beginning, I love taking class, and it's still the same today, and I think it got worse. The older I got, the more I want to take class, and the more exercises I do, the earlier I get to the theater. I think that working process is amazing, to go and guest all over the world and dance, but knowing that I always have my people, my home, my place to keep working, my place to always get better until the very, very end. It's a never-ending process.
I used to go to a lot of performances of Julio Boca, Nureyev, absolutely, and Fernando Bujones were big influences and definitely inspirations. I think I've always had the kind of personality that liked to tell a story and likes to be a certain kind of role or be somebody on stage, and I think that helped me a lot in my career.
Why I started ballet is still a mystery. I have no idea. At 7, I just knew I wanted to be a dancer. At 15, I landed in New York. I heard there were auditions at ABT, and I was like, I'm 15, from Argentina. They will never take me, but I would have just died if I can just take class with them. And I finished class, and they approached me and said, well, we'll give you a contract for the Corps de Ballet. That experience changed my whole life. Yeah, well, we dance corsair all the time together, and it's a wonderful part. It's very complicated, but it's a piece of cake to dance with him because we know each other so well. So we probably rehearsed the day before.
When you're working with an institution like New York City Ballet, you have a responsibility to your craft because of that. And I like that. I don't ever think of my role there as a job, but as a responsibility to keep this choreography alive and technique alive, and to be able to pass that on. I mean, I do a lot of teaching outside, so it's a nice avenue to continue to pass that on. I mean, you're in a profession where there's no handbook. For me to be able to participate as a dancer in the repertory and then kind of shoot that off through class, it's really, you really see the full circle. That's, I guess, essentially what art is about. A fun piece that a friend of mine, a former teacher, actually choreographed for me. And we were just messing around in the studio one day and we want to make something, and 45 minutes later we had a nice solid 2-minute piece. And he just knew me. I think he knew my energy, he knew my strengths, and we put it in there. And it's a nice opportunity because it's not a role that we have in the City Ballet rep or a classical rep, so it really gets you outside of the box, and I think it's something that the audience doesn't necessarily expect or is prepared for. So it's really exciting for me to perform knowing that that might surprise the audience in the way I can move and the music and everything else. The energy there is really contagious for the piece.
Grace and Victoria, they are just, they're not even dancers. They're these magical creatures. They don't even exist in real life. I've worked with them twice in 2 different ballets, and they're a joy to work with. I love working with both of them because with them there's no limit. It's just whatever goes. They will put their heart and soul into everything that you choreograph.
Ed is a very sensitive man, you know, very sensitive, and I think this choreography reflects that a lot. I mean, Edge of Innocence is very athletic, you know, and you said this is not that sensitive, but it is.
It's passionate in a way.
It's passionate.
He really choreographed it for us.
Absolutely.
And even the things that weren't so easy for us, he gently pushed it. Before he choreographed it, he took classes with us for a very long time. I feel like he also cared on a personal level. What are your habits as a friend? Like, just how are you today? What are you feeling today? He was already inspired by the Jane Austen novels. He talked about that, you know, so, and I think music was his inspiration as well. He's also very much hands-on. He demonstrates a lot. He actually could do every single lift that Fabrice did, like every single of it. So I got to practice it with him as well. So it's a lot of fun. Working with that it's a lot of fun. It's fantastic. I love pas de deux work, so it's really incredible to work with someone like Fabrice. I mean, look at him. He's like, how tall are you? So I feel very light and I trust him, so I think trust is very important.
We understanding music and her approach is different every time. And if she does something else, so she becomes more creative, or she change a little bit, then what happened?
Being in tune with each other, I think really helps. I mean, we know the music is guiding us to where we're going at, but it's important to be going there together. Yeah, I don't think we've done this part at the same twice.
look for in a dancer when I'm choreographing is many different aspects. I think that just like when I work with the choreographer, I tend to really soak up what it is that they're trying to say through their movement and through their body, and then take that to another level or so. Ami is the French word for friend, and I have very close childhood friends that are not blood related, but are really close to me and that I grew up with. I wanted to translate that a little bit with these two men and with this beautiful Chopin ballade, and how there is this competition between them, but also they're willing to help one another at any moment's time. It led me to choreograph Ami.
my goal in that performance that is coming up, and that I want to give 100%. I want that 2 hours of the show to give to the audience 2 hours of releasing whatever is happening in their lives and just coming to a different world. With me, I also take myself to a different, somewhere up there where you're not human anymore. So I guess I give my heart to the audience, and that's what I feel the audience remember.